Dre all day.
Tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is for the entrepreneurs. If your stuff is not quite working right now, I'm going to tell you why. Why am I able to do this? Because there are some commonalities that happen over and over and over again that I'm going to lay out here on this show, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if I'm talking about you, you will know I'm talking about you, because I'm going to lay out something that you are doing that you need to be told, that clearly somebody hasn't told you yet, or maybe they told you but you just didn't absorb the message. You heard it, you were listening, but you just didn't quite absorb it yet, and you haven't applied anything to fix it yet. So I'm going to help you with all of that here today. Before we get into that, let me tell everybody, I have a daily motivation text that I send out for free every single day to everyone who's in my text community. If you would like to receive that text, here's all you got to do. Send me a text at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day when I send out my daily motivation text, you will be a lucky recipient to get that message. It's guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. And on top of the fact that you're getting my daily motivation, you can respond to any one of my messages, and you can be talking to me directly through the text, because I don't outsource that to anybody else. So you can get my text directly through that number, and you can text me directly through that number. So text me, the numbers down below in the description. So entrepreneurs, why your stuff is not working. This is a topic that can apply to any of us, as a matter of fact, at any given time, in any given your situation and circumstance, because the things that I'm going to talk about here today, aiming this towards the entrepreneurs, but even if you are not an entrepreneur and don't plan on becoming one, the things I'm going to share here today, the principles, the framework of this can still apply to you. So keep listening, because nobody has everything working for them at all times, ever. And nobody bats 1,000 through life. Nobody, everything you try just works. So for everyone that's listening, something is not working for you right now. So I want you to follow the framework from this episode and diagnose what the actual issue is, because you can usually find it within this. You asking yourself the right questions and having the discipline, the confidence, and the mental toughness to actually answer them. Point number one. Topic, once again, is for the entrepreneurs. Why your stuff is not working. Number one, you don't know who you're talking to. In other words, you are trying to sell your product or service to a person whom you do not know well enough to speak to their needs. You're only speaking about, which means, see, when you're speaking to someone you don't really know them that well, and you're trying to sell them something, persuade them or influence them, but you don't know them well, then for the most part, you're going to be talking a lot about what you want and your needs and your desires. And frankly, the person who you're talking to doesn't give a damn about what you want or your needs or your desires. And frankly, they don't really give a damn about you, period. They only care about themselves. Everyone's tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me? The most important question every entrepreneur must answer is, who are you serving and how are you serving them? It's kind of two questions, but it's one sentence. Who are you serving, comma, and how are you serving them, question mark. If you do not know, then anything that you come up with will probably be inaccurate and is not going to work. You're not going to get the result that you want. Even if you think you have a great product, service, or idea, it doesn't really matter that you have a great product, service, or idea if it is targeted towards a person who's not interested in that product, service, or idea. So your product, service, idea must match with the desires of the marketplace being the people whom you wish to serve. This is the most important question every entrepreneur must answer. And many entrepreneurs struggle to answer this question. So when I talk to entrepreneurs, I will ask them, all right, who are you serving and how are you serving? This is the first question I ask any entrepreneur who's doing their thing. Usually entrepreneurs are pretty good at telling me the thing that they do was not the same as who are they serving. So who are you serving? Somebody will say, well, I'm a graphic designer, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I have books about this subject. All right, I didn't ask you that. Who are you serving? Who are you helping out with your stuff? Because see, what I gotta understand is the stuff that you sell is not as important as you getting clear on who you're serving, because the stuff can change. The stuff is interchangeable. See, the stuff that I sell this work on your game framework, which helps people by helping you create a roadmap in reverse to get to the outcome that you want to get through first of all, we get clear on where your mindset's at. Then we strategize for how we're actually going to get there. That's the roadmap in reverse. Then we make sure you and your processes are being held accountable, and then we get into the execution and we figure out what adjustments need to be made along the way, and I help you along the way through my processes, frameworks, and strategies. That's what I'm selling. That's what I'm offering. That's the thing. Now the thing is, who is it for? I got to get clear on who that's for. Now the thing is, I can serve multiple audiences with that exact framework. I just have to change my language as to who it's for every single time. I can take that framework and apply it to a basketball player trying to play professional basketball. I can apply it to a 15-year-old trying to make their high school basketball team. I can apply it to an entrepreneur who's just getting started and trying to get a steady $2,000 a month. I can apply it to a professional who's already making over 6 figures every year, and they want somebody who can kind of give them some real talk conversation, foot in the ass, and really help them see things the way they need to be seen and talk to them the way they need to be talked to, so that they are really staying on track and being disciplined and being accountable to the stuff that they know they need to do in their lives, that they are perfectly capable of understanding if somebody can give it to them the right way. So I can apply this to many different people. It's just the way that I talk about it, the way I language it can change, but the thing hasn't changed. You got to be clear on who you're serving. If you don't know who you're serving, then that means you're not going to speak directly to their needs, and it's not going to be a match, even though you might have a great offer. Again, your product might be great. And how are you serving them? Are you giving them what they want? That's why you got to get really clear on who your audience is, because when you know who your audience is, then you can start finding out what exactly they want, and you can give it to them. Isn't that a simple equation? But this requires a little bit of work, a little bit of forethought, and it requires you putting your ego aside, because when you really think about who you're serving and what they want, and you start finding out what they want, you may find, actually you probably will find, that what they want is different than what you were thinking about giving them. And this requires you to either serve your ego or tell your ego to shut the hell up. Which one are you willing to do? This is the question. Are you willing to tell your ego to be quiet? Many entrepreneurs are not. Many entrepreneurs make the mistake of first deciding what you want to do, then trying to figure out how to make people want it. So you're operating the equation backward. This is an inaccurate formula, and that's the exact reason why many entrepreneurs have great ideas on paper, but you can't turn those ideas into business, i.e. exchanges, i.e. sales. Because you are thinking more about what you want to do rather than what the people who you serve actually want. Do you understand that there's a difference between those two things? And this is the part that causes a lot of people a lot of consternation in life. You have to first identify who are you going to help and how they need or want to be helped. Then you make a solution based off of that information, which sometimes requires you taking all the stuff that you were doing and putting it aside just to give them the thing that they want. Because sometimes the thing that they want is just a small piece of all the greatness that you offer to the universe. So, who are you serving? How are you serving them? You must answer these 2 questions, entrepreneurs. If you haven't answered these questions yet, stop everything you're doing and figure out the answer before you do anything else. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, entrepreneurs, why your stuff is not working. Number 2, you don't know what they want. You don't even know what the people who you want to serve actually want. You are trying to force feed them something that they don't want. It's kind of like, I have never fed food to a baby, but I have seen videos of people trying to feed food to a baby. As a matter of fact, I've seen my mother feed food to babies, since she ran a daycare for many years. And when the baby doesn't want the food anymore, since it doesn't have the language to tell you it doesn't want anymore, what does the baby do? It just turns its face and it just refuses to open its mouth to get another spoonful of food to be put into its mouth. This is your customers when you're trying to force feed them a product that they simply don't want. They're just turning their face and they don't want the food, or they'll hit the spoon and knock all that food right into your face simply because they don't want the food anymore, or they don't want the food, period. You're trying to force it into their mouths. You got to give them what they want. And if you don't know, then you're playing a random game of craps, and casinos are designed to take your money. All right, there's not a single game in a casino that is designed as a 50-50 deal. Every single game is designed to take your money. This is another symptom of the guessing game that many entrepreneurs play. They are thinking too much about what they want to do and what they want to offer the world rather than what their target audience actually wants or needs from them. It is a rare occasion and a rare individual who's able to tell other people what they want and those people actually want it. Like, you can go to people and say, hey, this is the thing that you want, here it is, you should go buy this. Think of somebody like Steve Jobs or Henry Ford. They didn't listen to what the market was saying. They came up with their own ideas, and the people actually wanted their random genius ideas that they came up with. And those guys are geniuses. Listen, I don't place bets on me being a genius. Now, you might think that you're a genius if you can compete with the Steve Jobs or the Henry Fords of the world and come up with some genius idea that people will just accept without you even asking them what they want. Hey, maybe you can. Good luck if you do it. I mean, it's a lottery ticket if you do it, but if you don't do it, you fail. And there are many more people who tried to be Steve Jobs or Henry Ford who failed. You don't know their stories because they don't write books about those guys. Then there are people who actually succeeded. See, I talked about this several episodes ago, maybe a month or so ago. It's that you only hear the stories about the people who win. So you don't hear the stories about the failures. See, when people go and bet and they gamble and they win, you hear their stories. They get to tell stories. They get to tell their stories. They get to write a book about themselves. They get to give speeches. They get celebrated all over the world. And you see their faces everywhere you go, right? But see, for every one of those people who succeeds that way, there are 100 people who fail that way. Those 100 you never hear about. See, they don't get to write books. They don't give speeches. Nobody wants to interview them because they're failures. And since you only hear about the successes, you may be deluded into thinking that everybody who tries it succeeds. It's not true. Only 1% succeeds. You just don't hear about the other 99%. And you think, okay, well, if I do it, then I guess I'll become part of the 1% too. False. If you are not that level of genius, and I'll give you a hint that you're probably not, I'm not either, it's much easier to play the game from the angle of find out what they want and get them what they want. It's much easier to do. It's much harder to do it the Steve Jobs way. Find out what people want and give it to them. This is how I got started selling basketball training online. I was putting out basketball videos. A bunch of basketball players were watching me. And the players started asking me, Dre, can you make some workout programs or something to organize all these videos you're putting out? Because you got so many. I don't know which one to do first. I don't know where to get started. So the audience was asking me for the product. That's when I started creating the product. That's the way that you want to start a business. Put material out that shows that you have value, that you have game. You're getting your $10,000 of finding your voice in the process. So you're killing a couple birds with one stone. Then the audience will start asking you, hey, do you do this? Do you do this? Do you offer this? Do you have anything with this? That's when you go make the product. Just give them the exact thing they're asking for. Hey, do you do this? Do you offer this? Do you make programs? And then start making a program. Make what they ask for. Understand what they ask for and what you're offering might not be the same thing. So see what they ask for first, then build the thing that they want. So then you don't have to do any guessing whatsoever. You're giving them exactly what they asked for, and the game becomes a whole lot easier. The challenge in doing this is that, again, the human ego, especially the entrepreneur ego, wants to believe that it's a genius. It wants to create something first and then hope the rest of the world wants it. It is dead set on doing things a certain way. This is like the entrepreneur who says, well, I want to, my audience wants coaching, but I want to write books. Or my audience wants a membership, but I want to make courses. Or my audience wants courses, but I want to offer one-on-one coaching. It's you deciding not only on the idea itself, but also the medium through which you're going to give it. You are just determining that you're going to do things a certain way. Don't do this. This is the backward way of doing it, and this is what causes a lot of people a lot of trouble. Find out what people want, give them that. And when you see what they're asking for, just simply give it to them. Simple as that. And it usually will be much more simple than your bright idea that you had. It'll be much easier, much more simple, and it will sell better. Moving on to point number 3. Entrepreneurs, here is why your stuff is not working. Number 3, you are navel gazing. And this is just a euphemism for you're focusing on your own desires. Basically, you're thinking about only yourself and not thinking about the person who you want to serve. This is a big challenge for entrepreneurs because many entrepreneurs get started in business because of your independent streak, your disagreeable streak, your ability to come up with ideas, and your strong belief in yourself and your own genius. You need to have these things to be an entrepreneur. So I'm not telling you to turn these things off. I'm telling you have to learn how to control them, meaning when to turn them on and when to turn them off. All of these are good things to have because, again, as an entrepreneur, you need them. But also as an entrepreneur, a key skill to evolving your business is knowing when to put your ego aside and tell your ego to shut the hell up. Many entrepreneurs fail because they don't know how to do this. They don't know when to tell their ego to be quiet. Many entrepreneurs and just people in general fail because they don't know when to let the ego roll and when to put the ego aside. Being an entrepreneur is about you and not about you at the same time. It's all about you and not about you at all at the exact same time. It's about you in that you're the main person and that you're the main salesperson. Because everything that happens is going to be initiated and probably end with you. but it's not about you at all. And that just because you have a great idea doesn't mean anybody gives a damn about your idea, let alone will they pay for your idea in the form of time, money, attention, energy, or focus. So you have to learn how to control this, how to regulate your ego with your humility. And many entrepreneurs never quite master this mix. And in the world that we're in now, it's become more and more challenging to do this simply because we all can see what everybody else is doing. So we see somebody else doing something that may rhyme with what we want to do, and we start to think, well, I could do the same thing, or I could do it a little bit my way, or they're doing this, or you're doing this, so I think I can do this way, or, well, you're doing it, why can't I do it? Well, we're not the same person. We don't have the same market. We don't come from the same background. We don't have the same skills. We don't have the same qualifications. These are all the reasons why you can't do the same thing that other people do. But many entrepreneurs fool themselves into thinking that they can and that they should. This is a bad idea. It's a inaccurate formula, and it's not going to work. It's going to lead you down the path to failure. But don't say nobody told you. All that said, let's recap today's class. Entrepreneurs, why your stuff isn't working. This is a topic that can apply to anybody if you just follow the framework of what I'm saying here. Point number one, you don't know who you're talking to. Most important question for every salesperson: who are you serving and how are you serving them? Who are you helping? How are you helping them? Many entrepreneurs make the mistake of first deciding what they want to do, then try to figure out who actually wants it. This is a backwards way of doing things. Instead, find out what people want and then just give them that. It's going to be a lot easier and probably a lot less work. So it's an inaccurate formula to do it for doing things what you want to do and then hoping that somebody else wants it. Because then you're thinking more about what you want rather than what the people you serve want. Serve them and they will serve you. Point number two, you don't know what people want. This is another symptom of the guessing game many entrepreneurs play and thinking too much about what they want to do. It's a rare occasion you can come up with your own idea and the world just beats down your door to get to it, like Steve Jobs or Henry Ford. Most of us are not that level of genius, nor are we that lucky. For every one of them is 100 that tried it and didn't succeed. So how I got started selling stuff online was through basketball training. I put out a bunch of content that showed that I had game and that I could explain it. And then people started asking me to make programs, and that's how I started selling stuff online. Not because I showed up like, hey, everybody, I got these products to sell. Here's why you want it. No, that's not the way I did it. They asked for it, and then I just went and made it. So the sales were very easy because I was giving them the exact thing that they had requested. Point number three, you're navel gazing, focusing on your own personal desires. It's a big challenge for entrepreneurs because you need to be independent, disagreeable, have ideas, and believe in yourself. But at the same time, you got to know when to put your ego aside versus when to let your ego roam free. Being an entrepreneur is all about you and not about you at all at the exact same time. And you have to learn how to calibrate between the two, how to vacillate between these two poles. Many people don't learn this soon enough. Some entrepreneurs never learn this because they're always so focused on themselves and playing a comparison game between what they're doing and what they see other people doing and thinking they can do it just because somebody else did it. This is an inaccurate formula, folks. Again, everybody has a unique situation. There are certain strategies and processes that can work for everybody, and I'm giving it to you right here. But it requires you to put your ego aside and realize that your own genius ideas are the exact thing that's keeping you down. All that said, send me a text to get my daily motivation for free every single day straight to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. And if you are man enough or woman enough to come work with me directly at my Work on Your Game University, where we will work on getting your mind in the right space and understanding when to put your ego aside and getting all your bad ideas out of the way because they are slowing you down, so we can get strategic about building that reverse roadmap to get you where you want to be from where you are right now. Then make sure you're being held accountable and that things get executed on. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you want to join my group program, right there on that page, read what it says. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link on that page to sign up for a one-on-one call with me, because everyone who I work with one-on-one, I must speak to first. I do not allow anybody to sign up to work with me one-on-one. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You'll see your options there. There's only 2 of them. And we'll move on from there. Work on your game. Dre all day.